let's edit the actual pages and the actual content in Breakdance. So first we're going to go to pages, and then let's edit the home page, right? We can click in edit in Breakdance. I'm gonna open in a new tab. And we could also go to the home page, and from the home page, from the top bar, clicking open home. This works for any page. Like for example, if we're in About Us, we can hover over the top bar and also click in open about, and it will open precisely the about page in Breakdance, right? So here in the this is the Breakdance panel. This is what happens when we open a page in Breakdance, right? Like I'm going to open the structure panel because and then we are able to see very easily what's going on. So we have sections and columns, and you can see the structure like in the structure panel. And then it's just a matter of, I guess, starting to edit. Like every element is selectable when you click. It's very easy to see like what you click once you have the structure panel selected. And it's very easy to see what is selected, right? Like you're also able to click the boxes, for example, or you can also click here and navigate through the structure panel and be sure that of which element you are selecting in order to obviously edit, right? Like for example, in this case, we have a dual heading. We have three phrases. Let's say protect what matters the most is one, and then expert care is another one, which is like highlighted, and then in your location is the third one. And then if you this is the like usually in every element, the first icon or the first part in the sidebar is the one that edits the content, and then you have to click into the middle part in order to edit the styles. The styles are everything that is like how the element looks like and how it's positioned and everything that is related to that. So in this case, for example, we have different selections. Like for example, for both, we have the size of the header. Remember how in the last tutorial we were looking at the resolutions? Well, this is relevant because for example here also you can select different resolutions. As you can see here, if you hover over in font size, for example, is one of the properties, but you can hover over many properties and do the same with responsivity. If you hover over font size and you click that icon, the little icon, you can see the little different resolutions, and when you see them like in blue, that means that they have changes. Like for example, font size is 70 in the desktop, but if we go to this is tablet, what tablet portrait indeed, we go down to 50, right? And we can see the indication here in the little resolution icon. And this is in order to be able to navigate and know what is going on with the element at every point, right? Like it then is reduced to 40 here in the smaller resolutions, and then it remains 40 in the smallest because it's grabbing the last one, right? Like in this case it's going to be 40 because that's the smallest resolution for we have some data, some value that is different, right? So this is pretty much how it's everything edited. Like for example, if we want to change it's just a matter of selecting and changing whatever. If we want to change the picture, you can notice right here that the thing that is selected when you click in the picture is the column, and this is actually correct. As we can see here, there is a background. You can see here in the sidebar that different well, some sections or some items have this little dot with an X. Don't click the X, by the way. I mean, not if you don't want to delete everything. But the point is that when they have that, that means that there are changes or that there are some properties there that are that they have some value, that they are not empty, that they are not default. You know what I mean? So if we click in background, because it's, in this case the column has a background, and that's the first indication of what might be happening, right? So the background is actually the image, and if we want to change this image, in this case we just open the background of the column. In this case, I'm going to choose a different image for this. Like let's do something very different like this, so we see how it changes, right? So you can change, for example, that image. This whole section, for example, has an overlay. that in this case it's taking the headings color, and you can select a different, we'll select this overlay and select a different color according to your needs or to your branding. And this color palette is depending on the global settings. We're going to learn how to edit the global settings in a moment, but the point is that you are able to select, well, besides any color from the global settings, you are also able to add any color that you want here as typing the hex or selecting anything in the color selector, right? Like you have the ability to do a lot within the elements of the very different elements of the template, right? So, for example, let's assume that you want to change a little bit your layout, and you want to duplicate this section in order to have have this information also laid out differently down below. Like in order to duplicate anything, but let's assume that we're going to duplicate a section, we can click in this little icon that is right next to the trash button here in this section, or in the sidebar there is also that similar arrangement where you will have a duplicate button. You can just click that, and there you have the new section that is precisely the same. So let's assume that we're going to move it down here before the contact us, and then you will just, I don't know, maybe modify some of the text and modify anything. Like for example, you can modify the icons. The icons in this case are images. You are able to upload any icon in PNG format or in SVG. You are, well, where the WordPress installation also accepts SVG. And then you have it. You can just duplicate any element, like in this case, and have it edited in a different way we propose. For example, in this case, the global block, I don't know why it's not showing. I'm going to refresh, but I'm going to show you the global block. The global block in this case is something that repeats. Like, for example, in this case, is the testimonial slider, which is the testimonials are going to be the same across the site. Like in any way, anytime the testimonial slider shows, it's going to show all the testimonials, right? So the point is that we need to only edit the element once, and to do that, we'll just click here. Well, you just select any instance of the element and you click in Edit Global Block. And as you can see, there's nothing special about it once you do that, because we have a slider in this case. The slider is just, you can just click any element and, for example, edit the testimonial and then the author. And once you have more than 3, for example, you can duplicate new slides, duplicate the whole slide to obtain a new testimonial. And that's because it's going to be easier for you than creating a new slide from scratch. Because once you duplicate it, it's going to bring all of the styles of the colors and the sizes and the fonts and everything, right? So it's going to be easy in brand, just with duplication. And just be mindful that when you duplicate a global block, you are always going to be, when you edit the global block, you are always going to be editing like the main global block, and it's going to be edited in every instance. Every instance of the testimonial slider is going to have the new testimonials you add. You know what I mean? Regardless of where you add them. That's like the beauty, and that's how global blocks work in Breakdance. So yeah. Then let's explore the global settings, because this is important in how the template is arranged. So we can click in these 3 dots and then scroll to global settings. And here in global settings, we have like different sections. In this case, for example, we have colors. You can just change the colors and get, change these colors to your brand colors. And you will probably just have a very usable template right from the get-go, just changing this and making these small adjustments. After, this is like a set of categories that the template that Breakdance itself needs, like brand, text, headings, links, background. But then after those, we have the ability to add more here in the palette. In this case, we have another color, which is called Sage. But you have the ability to add as many as you want. You can also add gradients, that it blend into your template. It would depend on obviously your design, your branding, colors. But you have the ability to do all that very easily here in the global settings, colors in this case. So also let's jump into buttons. Buttons, we have like a primary and a secondary. Primary, for example, is in this case of the Monstera. Yes, this is this white, the white button that we have in some dark areas, in some dark sections, like for example this in Get Started. That's the primary, and you can edit the primary color in the primary button. I'm sorry, here in the global settings. If you click here in primary, you are going to be able to see all these settings, like from the size of the button to the color and the way it behaves, like in hover. The way Breakdance shows the hover effects or the hover, yeah, the hover states is with this little hand right here. Like you can see when we hover over a property that has that active, we can see a hand that in this case is blue, which means that there are values on it. And because with the primary button turns into the color sage when we hover over the well, the color means the color in this case of the border turns into green, into sage green when we hover over it. So that's the way we edit the hover states. And as I said, the primary button is the white button here in the Monstera, and the secondary button is the green button that shows in most of the sections that are like clear. Like this green button right here, this get started, and everything is the same. Everything is the same as the primary in the sense that you also have the ability to edit absolutely everything, and you can edit the typography, the corners, colors, everything as Breakdance allows you. Obviously, the we have integrated everything to work seamlessly with the Breakdance platform, right? So then you have the typography. Again, this also changes according to your brand. It's very easy as you can just update the heading font and the body font to anything you have here in here you have Google fonts and a number of free fonts that are not Google, or you can also upload your own fonts here in, you can click in the three dots and then click preferences. And after you click preferences, you click custom fonts. And here we don't have actually right now anything added, but you can add any font. Let's do Helvetica. Let's assume that we're going to add Helvetica. So I'm going to click add, and as you can see, we have a Helvetica like item. And then we will drag the font file in this into this tab. We can select, and actually I have a fig tree. Let's suppose that I add fig tree as a font, and then now we have to select the font weight and the kind of font that we have. In this case, for example, is 400 italic. After you have uploaded every font, then you just click in Save Fonts, and once you have it, like you have you can see an item right here in Custom Fonts. You can go to typography and select that custom font that we just added. In this case, is 50 as like an option, right? Like as your heading or your body font. So you can upload your own fonts very easily into Breakdance. And you can also here you can see that the typography also has different global settings available. Like we have a base size of 20, and then we have some advanced, well, the ability to insert some advanced settings. In this case, for example, all headings are with regular weight of 400 and using the text transform of uppercase. Like every title is in all caps all the time, and you can easily remove that or make it different within this section of typography in the global settings. Then you have the well, settings for the forms also, the different edits for different kinds of elements within the form. Although for the forms we are using specific editions in every form, so this is pretty much not used at our template level. Then the containers are, it's like the padding are the size and that we are handling for every for the boxes, let's say, or for the sections, more than for the sections actually. So the sections are 13 and 66 pixels wide, and then they have a vertical padding is like the space that goes before and after any section, but in well, in top and bottom, right? And then horizontal padding is left and right. So that's the global settings. But any other setting that any section has would override. Like for example, here we have different spacing in this section, and if we have some settings in the section that are different than the global section, these the settings that are local, like the ones that are assigned to the specific section, are going to take priority. So they are going to override the globals. The globals are only going to be applying to the elements that are they don't have some other values, like they don't have any setting that is overriding the globals, right? So there you have it. This is the way the globals affect in your breakdance template, right? And how they interact, and it's just a matter of, I mean, in the fact of editing your pages, you just need to dive into every page and click edit in breakdance and take a look at everything and see, I guess, how everything can fit into you, or how you can make your content work within the boundaries or the layouts of the template, right? Like for example, here in our team, let's assume that you have more teammates. It's very easy to just duplicate. In this case, let's open the stock commands to see what we're going to be duplicating. Let's just duplicate, for example, another column. We're going to duplicate this because it already has the styles of the picture being in the right side, like, right? So, and then we're going to send this column down in the bottom of this one. Like, okay, let's do it visually, like right here, right? So, I mean, it's very easy to just duplicate and be adding new elements and new stuff, and everything is very customizable in the sense that you can just select any element and change the settings or the backgrounds or the colors or any styles, right? Like for example, this icon list is just a matter of selecting the icon list, and then you are able to see that we have a list, and it's just a matter of changing the icon if you prefer, or and replacing, changing, or editing the content of every bullet point or of every list item, right?